How much do homes really cost right here in Columbia, South Carolina? How much does it cost to live in some of the older, established neighborhoods like Shandon right here in Columbia, South Carolina? Or how much does it cost to live in a master plan community like Lake Carolina in Northeast Columbia? Or how much does it cost to live in established golf course neighborhoods like Spring Valley right here in Columbia? Or how much does it cost to live in a new construction neighborhood like Ashley Oaks out here in Blythewood in the northeast part of Columbia? That's right, in this video I'm going to be taking you through multiple neighborhoods and subdivisions right here in Columbia, South Carolina. Homes ranging from $150,000 to over $1 million. So that way you can truly see how far your money goes right here in Columbia, South Carolina. And stick around to the end because I'm going to be diving into a brand new community that is coming right behind one of the top rated golf courses right here in South Carolina. And it's going to have an amenity like no other in the state. And no, this is not clickbait. You're going to want to stick around for this one. Let's go check out some older established neighborhoods right here in Columbia, South Carolina. All right, so we start off in the Melrose Heights neighborhood, which got started in the late 1800s with truthfully most of its rapid growth in the 1920s. And in all these, I'm going to break down what homes closed since the beginning of this year within our MLS to give you that best perspective. With that said, they are subject to area. So this year, homes closed from 1120 square feet up to 2319 square feet, 245,000 up to 645,000. The average home sold was 1663 square feet. The average sales price was 393,000 with an average price per square foot of $237. Next, we roll into Old Shandon. Old Shandon was established in 1893. It is listed as a historic district in the National Registers of Historic Places and is protected as an architectural conservation district by the City of Columbia. The neighborhood is known as Columbia's first suburb. In the last year, homes sold from 1,024 square feet up to 3,075 square feet, selling from 200,000 up to 620,000. The average home sold was 1,847 square feet with an average sales price of $413,000 and an average of $227 per square foot. Next, we head over to the Shandon neighborhood. This neighborhood got started in the late 1890s. It was incorporated as a town in 1904, but was later annexed by the City of Columbia. In the last year, homes sold between 1,060 square feet and 3,550 square feet. Homes sold between 225,000 up to 1,025,000. The average home was 1,939 square feet with an average sales price of $493,000 and an average of $250 per square foot. Next, we head over to Heathwood. The Heathwood neighborhood got started in 1914. In the last year, homes sold between 1,572 square feet and 6,931 square feet. Homes selling from $315,000 up to $4,400,000. The average home was 3,271 square feet, average sales price of $1,032,000, and an average $283 a square foot. Now I get that $4 million home might have pulled things up, but to give you an idea, there were 5 homes in the last year that sold for over $1 million, with another one hitting $3 million. Next, we head over to Forest Lake Estates and Forest Acres. The Forest Lake Country Club was founded in 1927. Speaking of country clubs, next we're going to roll into Country Club neighborhood, but let's talk about this area in the Forest Acres area first. In the last year, homes sold from 1,362 square feet up to 6,129 square feet. Homes selling from 205,000 up to 981,000. The average home was 2,563 square feet with an average sales price of $407,000 and an average of $161 a square foot. None of these homes right here on the golf course that I'm showing you now did sell in the last year, and obviously the price point of these are estimated to be over $1 million. And as mentioned, as we dive into those golf course neighborhoods right here in Columbia, for those that don't know who I am, my name is Brandon. My team and I of local real estate agents have truly been helping people from all over the country relocate right here to the Midlands of South Carolina, the Lexington, Columbia, and Lake Murray area. So please don't hesitate to reach out. That way you don't have to go at it alone. And again, stick around to the end because this brand new neighborhood I'm going to be introducing you to is going to be right alongside one of the most recognized and respected golf clubs that ranks as one of the top in the state right here in Columbia, South Carolina. Either way, we get started with the Woodcreek Farms neighborhood. This private country club was built back in 1997. This 2,300 acre neighborhood features the Tom Fazio designed golf course, exclusive member events, tennis facilities, and the Olympic-sized swimming pool. The neighborhood itself features homes from 1,400 square foot townhomes to gated neighborhoods with estate-style homes over 17,000 square feet. This year, homes have sold from 1,620 square feet up to 17,228 square feet, 263,000 up to 2,725,000. The average home was 2,882 square feet with an average sales price of $441,000 and an average of $153 per square foot. I'm not going to break down all the section, but let's talk about some brand new sections real quick in Woodcreek Farms. First, we get started with Pulte's gated neighborhood of Pecan Orchard, with homes from 2,179 square feet to over 3,320. Home prices from $418,000 to over $800,000. Next, we roll into Stanley Martin's Lakeside at Woodcreek. New homes from 2,539 square feet up to 6,937 square feet, with pricing in the 600s to 700s, some of these including basement homes. Next, we roll into Lennar's gated neighborhood of Northwood Villas, patio-style homes where front yard maintenance is included. New homes from 1,600 square feet to just under 3,000 square feet, with home prices in the 300s. Next, we go to check out the Wildwood neighborhood. Then this neighborhood is a private golf course, Wildwood. This 1,600 acres has that golf course, country club, with the first home being built back in 1967, and there are still new homes being built and lots still remaining in Wildwood. This neighborhood was inspired by our neighborhood in Memphis, Tennessee named Wildwood, and once had 2 polo fields in it. It was not initially planned to have a golf course, but in 1976, Wildwood Country Club opened. Either way, in the last year, homes sold between 1,397 square feet to 8,012 square feet, 170,000 up to 1,325,000. The average home was 3,282 square feet. The average sales price was $507,000 and an average of $153 per square foot. You have a variety of different neighborhoods, including up to exclusive gated neighborhoods in Woodcreek. Next, we head over to Long Creek Plantation in Blythewood. This area is over 2,000 acres of multiple neighborhoods that started in the mid-70s as one of Blythewood's oldest neighborhoods. It features both the private Columbia Country Club, which was established in 1960, featuring pool, tennis, pickleball, 27-hole champion golf course. As well, it features the Windermere Club. This public golf course was established in 1989. The Windermere Club offers a Pete Dye signature golf course, indoor-outdoor tennis complex, pickleball, junior Olympic-sized pool, and a 3,000 square foot state-of-the-art fitness center. Either way, in this area, homes sold between 1,565 square feet and 4,909 square feet, from 250,000 up to 895,000. The average home was 3,330 square feet, with the average sales price at $509,000 and an average of $153 a square foot. We also do see new homes in this area coming from both Mungo Homes as well as recently announced Fox Creek Homes. Next, we head over to Cobblestone Park in Blythewood. Within Cobblestone Park is a public golf course established in 1995. It is a gated neighborhood across from the brand new Scout plant in Blythewood. Cobblestone Park itself is a 27-hole golf course with a 28,000 square foot clubhouse. Either way, within this neighborhood, in the last year, homes sold between 1,773 square feet and 3,630 square feet. Homes selling from $315,000 up to $475,000. The average home was 2,807 square feet with an average sales price of $411,000 and an average of $140 a square foot. And just not to misrepresent the neighborhood, there are multiple homes that sold for over $700,000, one even over $900,000. It's just been over a year since any of those sold, so they did not hit those numbers. Next, we roll over to the Spring Valley neighborhood in Columbia. Within Spring Valley is the private golf course neighborhood of Spring Valley, established in 1961. Spring Valley features an 18-hole golf course and is located on 150 acres, has a clubhouse, pool, and tennis courts. Either way, homes within the last year inside Spring Valley sold between 2,537 square feet and 4,369 square feet, from $329,000 up to $669,000. The average home was 3,404 square feet, with the average sales price being at $419,000, making it an average of $124 a square foot. It is conveniently located right around the corner from Sesquicentennial State Park. Next, we're rolling into the highly sought after master plan communities right here in Columbia. As we dive into master plan communities right here in Columbia, don't forget we still have the brand new master plan community coming to the area. And trust me, this isn't clickbait either. I was very impressed when I heard about what was coming to this area. Either way, we get started with the Summit. Homes in the Summit were built starting back in the 90s up to 2021. There are nearly 40 subsections, as well as including medical offices in the neighborhood, schools, pools, parks, walking trails, and it's just a minute from the Sand Hills Outdoor Mall. Either way, overall homes sold from 93,000 up to 400,000. Now, just for reference, the 93,000 had extensive water damage to the point that you had to sign a waiver to even see the house. So let's call it the lowest being right around 147,000 for livable. Average came in at 257,000. Now, I'm not going to go through all 40 subsections, but let me hit on a few to give you an idea of what the different price points are in this neighborhood and what you can get for that price. So we get kicked off with the Summit Towns. Homes in here sold between 10,058 square feet and 1,399 square feet. Homes from 150,000 up to 205,000. The average home was 1,222 square feet with the average sales price of $171,000 and an average of $140 a square foot. Next, we had to Waverly Place at the Summit. Homes in the last year sold between 1,074 square feet and 1,712 square feet. Homes selling from 140,000 up to 230,000. The average home was 1,427 square feet and the average sales price was $204,000 with an average of $144 a square foot. Next, we roll into Autumn Hill at the Summit. Homes in the last year sold between 1,257 square feet and 2,140 square feet. Homes selling from 205,000 up to 256,000. The average home was 1,582 square feet with the average sales price at $233,000 and an average of $149 a square foot. The Indigo Springs neighborhood in the Summit. Homes selling from 1,282 square feet to 2,923 square feet. From 244,000 up to 340,000. The average home was 2,413 square feet with an average sales price of $289,000 and an average of $124 a square foot. Summit Hills in the Summit. Homes selling from 1,638 square feet to 3,180 square feet. From 260,000 up to 387,000. The average home was 2,653 square feet and the average sales price was $331,000 with an average of $128 a square foot. And wrapping up the Summit with the Hunter's Pond subsection. This section, homes sold between 2,401 square feet and 2,845 square feet, from 330,000 up to 400,000. The average home was 2,648 square feet and the average sales price of $359,000 and an average of $136 a square foot. Now we head over to Lake Carolina, which was built starting back around 2000 and new phases have recently been announced. This 1,850 acre neighborhood features a private 200-acre lake right in the middle. The neighborhood features over 30 acres of sidewalks, has an elementary, middle school right there in the neighborhood, has multiple parks and pools, walking trails, a YMCA, and a downtown with shops, restaurants, and so much more. It's over 40 subsections and the last year ranged from $175,000 up to $960,000 with a $367,000 average. Now again, I'm not going to go through all 40 subsections, but let me hit a few to give you an idea of the different price points and how far your money goes. Now it did make an entire video breaking down every section if you want to see that, so you'll want to check out that video. But we get started in the Centennial neighborhood. Homes in here range between 1,340 square feet and 3,336 square feet. Homes sold between 192,000 up to 400,000. The average home was 2,125 square feet and the average sales price was $274,000 and an average of $131 a square foot. The Harborside neighborhood within Lake Carolina. Homes in this section range from 1,273 square feet to 4,478 square feet. Homes from 222,000 up to 834,000. The average home was 2,455 square feet, and the average sales price was $357,000, with an average of $146 a square foot. In Harborside, you have the brand new section being built by Fox Creek's Homes right on the water. At this point, we don't have pricing yet, but I'll update you as soon as you know. Harborside is going to be the closest to the downtown, where you could literally walk right across the street and be there, outside the homes that of course reside in the downtown section. Next, we roll into the Ashland section, as I like to call it, covering Ashland Mills, Ashland Park, Ashland Falls, Ashland Downs, and Ashlands Grove. Homes in this area sold between 1,480 square feet and 4,364 square feet, from $215,000 up to $517,000. The average home that sold was 3,136 square feet. The average sales price was $372,000, with an average of $121 a square foot. We roll into the Woodley Park subsection. Homes in the last year sold between 1,493 square feet and 4,166 square feet, from $295,000 up to $652,000. You did have the older section of the smaller homes, as well as the brand new homes recently closed by Mungo Homes and Eastwood Homes, some of them right there on the water with access to the water and permits to be able to have a dock. The average home was 2,847 square feet. The average sales price was $418,000 and an average of $148 a square foot. Next, we roll into the gated neighborhood of the Peninsula. Over the last year, 3 homes sold: a 3,027 square foot home for $480,000, a 4,559 square foot home for $675,000, and a 4,642 square foot home for $665,000. Lastly, we go check out the Bluffs within Lake Carolina. Homes this year sold between 3,010 square feet and 7,461 square feet, from $465,000 up to $960,000. The average home was 4,638 square feet, and the average sales price of them was $676,000, with an average of $154 per square foot. Now we're gonna go check out some new construction neighborhoods and then dive into the announcement of that brand new neighborhood coming soon right here to Columbia, South Carolina. And we get kicked off with the Falls. Now the Falls is wrapping up, so you're gonna have both new as well as some resales in the neighborhood. It's right across the street from Lake Carolina. They do have a community pool within this neighborhood. Either way, in the last year, this year I should say, homes sold between 1,483 square feet and 3,596 square feet. Homes selling from $239,000 up to $415,000. The average home sold was 2,363 square feet, and the average sales price was $302,000, with an average of $134 per square foot. We check out the Grand Arbor neighborhood in Blythewood. This neighborhood started back in 2023 and will have a community pool, community pond. We'll also have pickleball courts, basketball courts, athletic fields, and so much more in this neighborhood. Either way, brand new homes selling from 1,510 square feet up to 2,969 square feet. Homes selling from $263,000 up to $487,000. The average home sold was 2,324 square feet, and the average sales price was $338,000. It's an average of $148 a square foot. And again, this is made up of both of Pulte section as well as Syntex section. 2 different styles and variety of homes, but reach out if you want to learn more about that. Next, we roll into the Ashley Oaks neighborhood in Blythewood. This neighborhood will have a community pool. In the last year, new homes sold between 2,919 square feet and 6,395 square feet. Homes selling from $463,000 up to $688,000. The average home sold was 3,982 square feet, the average sales price being $556,000, and an average of $142 a square foot. Now, before we wrap up new construction, we're gonna take a dive into one more established neighborhood, Ashley Oaks, that we just talked about. That's right, this was a continuation of Ashley Oaks Part 1 and Part 2. Either way, 1 home sold in the last year in the section that was not new, home built in 1997, a 29 square foot house selling for $425,000. All right, so let's dive into that brand new community coming right here to the Midlands of South Carolina with amenity like no other. And just so you know, that's not clickbait. So this is what we're getting started out with. This is Crystal Lagoons that is coming to this neighborhood. If you're not familiar with it, it is these lagoons that are built around the country, primarily started in Florida, but have expanded to Texas, Alabama, California, and now announced South Carolina. The one in Columbia is going to be the first one. And this is one of the renderings of one of the other neighborhoods throughout the United States. So we don't exactly know what it's going to look like in our area. I have seen some renderings, and I'll show you those in just a second here. But they have told us that there are going to be homes around it. There's going to be hotels, restaurants, and so much more. When they first announced it, they said it was going to be public, but obviously convenient to access to this neighborhood to have it right there in your backyard, as you can see in some of these neighborhoods. All right, so obviously everybody's biggest question is, where is this neighborhood going to be at? So I'm actually out here at the Oak Hills Country Club, and it's going to sit all around this, as well as that Crystal Lagoon. For those not familiar with the area, we're essentially call it 12 miles to downtown Blythewood and about 9 miles to downtown Columbia. So right there in between, making it easy commute for those that are trying to get back to Fort Jackson, University of South Carolina, and so many more. But let's head back over and I'm going to show you some of those renderings of what this neighborhood is going to look like. And circling back, as you can see, the renderings of what this subdivision is basically going to look like. So of course you have the golf course already in existence in the area, and then all this builds around it with these neighborhoods. And Contender Developments is the one, not a new developer any sense of the means. They've built a lot around the country, but as you can see, you have Crystal Lagoon sitting right in here, and then you have all this development all the way around the entire area around already established development. Again, this is a massive project, and I'll make videos more about this in the future. Now, of course, for those trying to get a better perspective of the area and the neighborhoods I saw, I've done a ton of driving tours where I literally drive all these areas. I drive through Blythewood, I drive through Columbia, I drive through a bunch of different areas. So you want to check out those videos if you're trying to get a better perspective of the area and if these neighborhoods are for you, so you can see where the local parks are, how far it is from shopping, restaurants, hospitals, and so much more.